Barbaças was born in a small village in Trás-os-Montes in 1985, in a stone house where the cold bit into the bones during the long winters of northern Portugal. From an early age, everyone knew him simply as Barbaças. That's what he was always called, and that name stuck with him for the rest of his life. The son of a shepherd and a seamstress, Barbaças grew up in a humble family where every penny counted. Evenings were spent around the fireplace, where the logs crackled and stories were told to ward off the chill that crept in through the cracks in the ancient windows. His mother mended clothes by the light of a dim lamp, while his father planned the next day's work with the sheep. But Barbaças dreamed of much more than those four stone walls. Every summer, in August, the village transformed. The emigrants arrived, those who had left years before in search of a better life elsewhere. They came with their gleaming BMWs, Mercedes, and Audis, parked in front of the modest houses like trophies of a battle won abroad. Barbaças, then just 10 years old, spent hours observing these men and women who had come from the same land as him, but now returned transformed. They wore expensive clothes, wore gold watches, and most importantly, bought whatever they wanted without regard for the price. "Why do I have to stay here?" the little boy wondered as he watched an old neighbor buy a new television for his parents, pay for the house renovations, and even distribute money to his family. "If they can do it, so can I." This question echoed in his head during the cold winter months, when the village returned to its slow, melancholic rhythm, and the luxury cars drove off again, leaving only tire tracks in the dirt and the promise that they would return the following year. The years passed, and Barbaças's mindset remained unchanged: to gain financial independence and help his family. While his friends contented themselves with the prospect of following in their parents' footsteps, some to the fields, others to local construction sites, he devoured every book he could get his hands on about business and success. At Bragança High School, where he had to travel every day in a van packed with students, Barbaças stood out for his determination. The teachers noticed that there was something different about that young man with the thick beard and intense gaze. He asked questions about the outside world, about how wealth was created, about how businesses worked. "Mom," he would say to Conceição during frugal dinners of soup and cornbread, "one day I'm going to change our lives. I'm going to make it so you'll never be cold in the winter again or have to mend clothes to earn a few bucks." His mother smiled tenderly, but deep in her heart, she dreaded the day her son would leave. He knew it was inevitable. That boy had wings too big to fly in such a small village. The moment arrived on a cold October dawn in 2003. Barbaças had just turned 18 and made the hardest decision of his life. He packed the few things he had into an old backpack, counted the €200 he had saved over months of doing odd jobs, and left a piece of paper on the kitchen table. "Father, Mother, forgive me for leaving like this, but I know that if I said goodbye, I wouldn't have the courage to go. I'll fight out there like so many others have done before me. One day I'll return, and when that happens, everything will change for our family. I promise you. With love, your son." When the parents woke up and found the letter, the mother cried like she had never cried before. The father was silent, but deep down he knew his son was doing what he had to do. Lisbon welcomed Barbaças as she welcomes all dreamers, with indifference and challenges. In the first few months, she slept in shared rooms with 5 other boys, all of them vindos from the countryside with similar dreams. He worked as a waiter, a kitchen hand, a flyer distributor, a factory worker, anything that would earn him enough money to survive. But Barbaças wasn't content with survival. At night, after grueling shifts, he'd sit in a cafe with free Wi-Fi and study. First, it was YouTube videos on digital marketing, then online courses on e-commerce, then training on online sales. "The future is on the internet," he repeated to himself as other internal immigrants spent what little money they had on drinks and entertainment. "This is where I'm going to build my empire." In 2008, already with some financial stability thanks to a steady job at a telecommunications company, Barbaças made his first serious attempt in the digital world. He created a small online store selling typical products from Trás-os-Montes, cured meats, honey, olive oil, taking advantage of the contacts he had back home. The first few months were discouraging. Few sales, a lot of work, and the feeling that he was going in circles. But Barbaças didn't give up easily. He enrolled in dozens of online courses, some free, others paid for with the money he managed to save. He learned about SEO, content marketing, Facebook and Google advertising, and data analysis. Every no is one step closer to yes, he told himself when results were slow to arrive. The turning point came in 2012. Barbaças was now 27 years old and already mastered digital marketing techniques like few others in Portugal. He identified an untapped market niche, wellness and natural health products aimed at people over 50. He created a new online store, this time with a well-defined strategy. He invested everything he had saved, about 15,000 euros, in inventory, a professional website, and advertising. He worked 16 hours a day, 8 at his regular job, 8 on his online business. The first signs of success began to appear. Sales grew month after month, customers recommended the products, and Barbaças realized he had found the magic formula. Within 6 months, the online business was making more money than his job. In December 2012, in a courageous decision, he resigned and dedicated himself entirely to e-commerce. The following years saw exponential growth. Barbaças wasn't content with one store. He created several, each specializing in a specific niche. He hired employees, set up a warehouse, and created a digital marketing team. The shy boy from Trás-os-Montes had transformed into a shrewd and determined entrepreneur. By 2018, at 33, Barbaças was selling over 2 million euros per year through his various online platforms. He had a team of 30 employees, warehouses in Lisbon and Porto, and was expanding into Spain and France. But success didn't go to his head. Every month, a significant portion of the profits went to Trás-os-Montes, where they financed renovations on their parents' home, paid for medical treatment for needy family members, and even created a fund to support young people in the region who wanted to study or start small businesses.
In August 2019, exactly 16 years after his silent departure, Barbaças returned to his hometown. But this time he didn't arrive by bus as he had before. He arrived in his Tesla Model S, followed by a van filled with gifts and surprises for the whole family. The entire village took to the streets to see the return of the prodigal son. Conceição wept with joy upon seeing her son, now a grown man, with an even more imposing beard and even brighter eyes. Antonio, always more reserved, limited himself to a long, silent hug that spoke louder than 1,000 words. "I promised I would return and that everything would change," Barbaças told the gathered family. And this is just the first of many surprises. That same week, he announced the creation of a digital marketing training center in the region, designed to teach local youth how to seize the opportunities of the digital economy. "No one needs to leave to be successful anymore," he declared. "We can bring the world here." Today, Barbaças is recognized as one of Portugal's leading e-commerce experts. His digital empire generates over 10 million euros annually, employs hundreds of people, and serves as an example for thousands of young entrepreneurs. But what makes this man with the white beard, which he now always keeps well-groomed, most proud isn't the business's numbers or the public recognition. It's knowing that he managed to fulfill the promise he made to himself on those cold childhood nights. He changed his family's life and proved that there's no dream too big for those willing to work for it. At the conferences where he is invited to speak, Barbaças always ends with the same message: "It doesn't matter where you come from or how humble your beginnings. What matters is the strength of your dream and your willingness to never give up. I am living proof that anyone can change their story." And when he returns to the village of Trás-os-Montes, he still enjoys sitting by the fireplace with his parents, listening to the crackling of the logs and feeling the warmth he always sought, not just that of the fire, but the warmth of a dream realized and a promise fulfilled.
A hug.